Hey, Yoel. Thanks for stopping by. So, for the past couple of days, the US government has been shut down. And I know that's kind of a confusing phrase if you don't know exactly what's going on, because I'm sure you've still seen cops on the street. The toll roads are still asking you for money. It's not like total chaos has just broken out immediately because there's no government anymore. So, just to give you some clarity, if you are confused about what a government shutdown means, every fiscal year, we need to approve funding for the government and their employees. As I'm sure you can imagine, federal employees don't work for free and do need to come home with a check every month to provide for themselves and their families. So the halls of Congress and the powers that be will pass things called funding bills. Basically just ensures that everybody's going to come home with a paycheck. And I know that sounds really simple. If it was just giving people money, why would this ever fail to fall through? Because it is that simple. Everybody needs to come home with a check, so this seems like very popular legislation, and that's why nonsense is usually stapled onto it. Certain provisions or demands made by the parties of power that they can slap onto these very popular and necessary funding bills in order to further some agenda or meet the demands of whatever dear leader is asking for this week. It should stand to note as well that this is not the first government shutdown you've experienced in your lifetime. There was a couple during the 80s and the 90s. After I was born, there was two during Bill Clinton's presidency. And then after that, we had a nice 20-year gap before the next one. During Obama's second term, there was a government shutdown. It was caused largely by congressional Republicans refusing to budge on cutting spending for healthcare. The ACA, Affordable Care Act, as they dubbed it, Obamacare, was a hot ticket item. There was all these arguments about giving healthcare to non-citizens or to illegal aliens, and you had then political aspirant and current sitting president Donald Trump say the following: a shutdown falls on the president's lack of leadership. I mean, problems start from the top, and they have to get solved from the top. A shutdown means the president is weak. Cut to 12 years later, and now we're in a governmental shutdown caused by congressional Republicans, largely seeking to cut aid from the ACA. The hard line that congressional Democrats won't budge on is they want to extend tax credits for medical rebates that people get through the Affordable Care Act. It's important to say that these are tax rebates through the ACA. This does not have to do with people getting health care through emergency services. This has to do with rebates that you get after you file your taxes through the ACA. Republicans seem to keep pushing this line about Democrats want to give money to illegal aliens. Democrats want to give health care money and taxpayer dollars so illegal immigrants can get health care. And the crazy thing about all of this is the law that actually provides health care to non-citizens when they have emergency services done to them in hospitals was signed into law by none other than former President Ronald Reagan. Any tax rebate that you would get after filing your taxes means, of course, that you have to file your taxes. And if you're an illegal immigrant, you can't file taxes. You'll pay taxes, sure, when you buy anything in a storefront, even if you pay cash, even if you are paid under the table, you're paying a sales tax. You gotta pay for parking, you're paying a tax there. Anytime you spend money in this country, you're paying into taxes. The healthcare provided to people through emergency services isn't something that Republicans are even trying to get rid of. In fact, I don't see any congressional Democrats really demanding we give health care to non-citizens or illegal aliens or however you want to word people who aren't documented to be in this country. That won't stop Republicans from lying about it, though. That won't stop our own vice president from lying about it. I don't bring up the stuff that Donald Trump is saying right now because anybody who's of a sound mind and is actually paying attention to the stuff he's saying and doing on stage knows that this is a man who's not well. But all the people around him, all of his underlings, all of his yes men, they could tell the truth. They just choose not to. It should stand to note as well, if you're someone who likes to keep score, this is the third shutdown under Donald Trump's presidential reigns. There were two half-hour shutdowns under President Biden where the funding bill was signed into effect less than an hour after the deadline passed. And if you want to count that on the scoreboard, that's fine if you want to do that, but no one went without a paycheck during that shutdown. Meanwhile, this current shutdown is a Republican-led House of Representatives, Republican-led Senate, and Republican president. You'll notice that every other time there was an attempt to shut down the government or there was bickering about this, that Democrats reached across the aisle. Democrats are always the one who capitulate, who bend, who allow Republicans to have the things they want. And the one time they actually stand up for the American people and try to give you some money back for the health care that you spend your money on, well, now the Democrats shut the government down. Now it's all their fault. I don't know how much longer this government shutdown is going to last. I hope it's over soon. I hope Republicans understand that their positions are unfavorable and that the lying that they're doing is going to get them nowhere. But it seems their fan base can't get enough of it and just will accept anything that comes out of their mouths. So I guess until the next time you force a Republican to actually read the legislation that they're arguing against, y'all try to have a good day.